Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. You know, I didn't do a preview for the ISAAC CRUZ Jose Valenzuela fight, but as it crept up to the fight, I got thinking about it, and I put a few quid on Valenzuela because I kept thinking about a few things. CRUZ, we know, Pitbull CRUZ, 5'4", a little wrecking ball, right? CRUZ 5 foot. Valenzuela 5'10". CRUZ 26 years old. Valenzuela 25 years old. We know about CRUZ, how effective he can be. Like I say, he's a little powder keg. But if you look at the last few fights for Valenzuela, he fought Chris Colbert twice. He lost once. The first time he lost unanimous decision. Then he stopped him in 6 rounds. Prior to that, he had that incredible up and downer with Edwin de los Santos, where he was on the floor, I think, in the first 2 rounds, and de los Santos was on the floor. And so he had those back-to-back defeats to Colbert and de los Santos, but he came back with that win over Colbert, stopping him in 6. That shows character to come back from 2 defeats, especially if one of them's a stoppage. And also, with Robert Garcia in his corner, I just kept thinking, I don't like this. I think the style's all wrong for Pitbull. And so it proved, because Jose Valenzuela wins a split decision over ISAAC CRUZ, and thoroughly deservedly so. I mean, I think I had it 116, 112 or 117, 111. I'll have to tie up my card again. But definitely a win for Valenzuela. One of the guys had it, I think, 115, 113 for CRUZ. I cannot see that at all. I mean, it would be a real push to give CRUZ a draw. There's no doubt in my mind that Valenzuela won this fight, and I won a few quid on this fight, actually, because, like I say, I put a few bob on it. CRUZ came out, as he always does, hurtling forward, throwing all sorts of punches, huge overhand hooks. He makes himself even smaller than his 5'4" frame, kind of like Mike Tyson used to do. And the moment he gets into range, quick with the feet, the moment he gets into range, overcome these huge bombs. Now, Robert Garcia isn't stupid. He would have worked out that that's exactly what CRUZ was going to do, because CRUZ always does that. So Valenzuela would have trained to, from the word go, to have some sort of antidote to that offense. And sure enough, he did. Now, it was rocky. In the first round or two, it was very rocky, because CRUZ was fresh and he was explosive and he was coming forward. But, of course, Valenzuela, it was always going to take him. But whenever you've got someone who's that hyperactive in front of you, it takes you a few rounds to find your range and start popping the jab and everything. And I think from the 3rd or 4th onwards, he was definitely, able to sort of, and he's southpaw, by the way, Valenzuela, whereas CRUZ is orthodox fighter. He was able to find that range, control range, and even though CRUZ was bundling in and boring into him, he used his feet beautifully to sort of pivot, little semicircles, little 90-degree angles, and was popping CRUZ as he came in. And CRUZ, I don't think he really struggled with the southpaw stance, but I definitely think once Valenzuela got his engine running and was able to sort of get some sort of rhythm to his work, CRUZ was in, quite a bit of difficulty. He wasn't able to land more than maybe 1 punch at a time, 2 at the most. And even though he's got heavy hands, no doubt about it. Nevertheless, I felt that Valenzuela was, unless he was hit clean, and as long as he concentrated for every second of every round, he was going to be able to outbox CRUZ. That's pretty much what happened. It's not that, there weren't really any majorly rocky moments for Valenzuela. He really did box quite beautifully for a lot of the time. And he wasn't greedy. He didn't stand in front of CRUZ and give him a chance. He'd pop him, he'd clock him, and then he'd move, then he'd pop him again. There was some really beautiful work going on there. And CRUZ was just quite simply being outboxed. CRUZ came in, with 26 wins, 18 KOs. So he's got, we all know he's got heavy hands. He had the two defeats in his record, one to Gervonta Davis, and I think going way back to an 8-rounder against a journeyman about 8 years ago. So this was because he was on a roll. You know, everyone been impressed with his performance against Tank, and you know, he got rid of Rowley in 8 rounds, which is fine, and you know, he'd beaten the remnants of Yuriorkis Gamboa following the Tank Davis fight, and he gave Tank Davis probably is one of his toughest fights anyway. But against Valenzuela, the style was always wrong, and well done to the young man. I mean, Valenzuela came in as a rank underdog, but I kind of sniffed an upset, and it didn't entirely surprise me that he did it. And as the rounds were ticking by, I was thinking, can he keep this up? Can he keep this up? And when he got into the final third of the fight, the last 4 rounds, I thought, he's got this. Unless he gets really silly, he's got this. And you've got to give a shout out to Robert Garcia, you know, again, taking a guy who was at a crossroads in his career, even though he's such a young man. He lost a couple of back-to-back fights. And lo and behold, what happened? You know, he rebuilt, the confidence was instilled, you know, it was a really fantastic performance, I think. And all credit to Jose Valenzuela. He got quite emotional. He's apparently his parents sacrificed everything so that he could have a career. I think they were immigrants into the US, and they were, you know, took them a while to get citizenship or right to stay or whatever it is over there, whatever they've got. So he said, you know, this belt is for my parents. So he's a very respectable young man. I wish him all the best. ISAAC CRUZ, 26 years old, he can come back. Not a problem, is it? He's never going to be shy of work because he's so damn exciting to watch. Just his style's so brilliant. But he was second best against Jose Valenzuela, no doubt about it. And yeah, well done to the young man, who I believe is based in Washington, I think, somewhere in Washington. And yeah, you know, what did you think of this fight? What were your opinions of it? Do you think the right man won? I assume you do, but I don't know. You know, you may differ. Comments below, as always. Thank you for subscribing to the channel, and if you're new and you could subscribe, that would be fantastic. And also hit that little like button thingy. And yeah, I thought this was a pretty good fight. But let me know what you think. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and bye for now.